Well, my dermatologist is the one that pointed this out to me, and it hurt my feelings at first because I was in there with my checkup on all the spots. And this was 5, 6 years ago before I was using the serum, the GHK-Cu. And he looked at my hand and he said, "Your hands do not belong to your face." And it really bothered me, but it made me very aware
Yeah.
that I needed to start taking care of my hands. I've spent so much focus on, I mean, I was really good about the sunscreen and all what I was using at the time, but I was ignoring my hands.
Yeah. Well, it's a real pleasure to have Debbi Barber on the show today. Welcome.
It's so good to be here. Thank you.
We were chatting so much. I had to hit the record button. So I was like, we can ever. This is going to be a juicy episode because we're going to take a deep dive into GHK-Cu or copper peptide. And it's something that's been around in the biohacking world for a while. We're always talking about it and which ones should we get. And I'd love before we start that if you could share a bit your story, like how you became interested in copper peptides and skincare in general.
I've always been interested in skincare, but it was through working with a wonderful doctor, Dr. Suzanne Ferree. And I know you know her because I think you have interviewed her.
Yes, we did.
And yes, and she had been really helping me with several issues, including helping build my immune system. I started seeing her in my early 60s. So there's the immune system, there's trying to maintain muscle as I age. So I started using Tessamorelin, which I love, 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 wonderful for keeping that muscle, encouraging my growth factor.
Mhm.
And through the use of peptides, I saw things were happening that were different than in the past.
Mhm.
So one day when I was in my meeting with her, I said, okay, I need to know what I can do for crepey skin. I'm getting this crepey skin, and I've tried everything from $50 to $300 products that are trying to help, and I'm not seeing results. And she said, I'll never forget. She just paused and said, well, I can tell you what I do. I use GHK-Cu. It is a copper peptide, and I can get it at the compounding pharmacy for you. And that changed my world because I trust her so much. I said, absolutely. So I started using this. It was a foam, not a great, in my opinion, not the kind of thing you'd love to put on your face, a foam and leave on.
Mhm.
But after a couple of months, I really started feeling softer in my skin. The lines started to even out. And then the crepiness, which was in my upper arm, that inside of your upper arm, you see it on tennis players. And I played tennis and I just said, I cannot stand this. So I saw how well it worked. And then after 3 months, I'm like, I've never used anything like this. And long story short, because it worked so well, and none of my friends were aware of copper peptide. They're like, what is that? GHK-Cu copper peptide. And they know about collagen peptides. They know the word peptide, but they did not know copper peptide. And I became passionate to share this. I thought, oh, women have to know about this. This is too good. And so my husband said, we need to develop this. And we dreamed about what can you put with this to make it both work better, enhance it, and also be a pleasant experience. So we worked with an organic chemist and we added hyaluronic acid, brown algae. I love brown algae for skin because it can protect. You think about the algae out in the sea, how it's developed this ability to protect against the UV radiation and the elements. So we added the brown algae and just developed this wonderful serum that we tested and tested. And I had friends knocking on the door to try this, like signing up to try it. And it started working, and so many people started loving it that we started a business and went from a serum to we have 8 products now, and it's all been client customer driven because like I had one lady, I love this, but could you please develop a body cream? I need a body cream. So we worked and developed a body cream that has the GHK-Cu shea butter, rosemary oil, which helps with cellulite. It just evolved. And then squalane oil, which is something I think I'll talk about later, that's just one of my favorite products. So I said way too much at the beginning. You can tell I love I love the products. That's how we started. And here we are and I was 64 and I had retired to spend time with my grandchildren. and be able to take care of them, meet them at the bus, and became so passionate that I meet them at the bus on a podcast sometimes. But I have been doing this now for the last almost 5 years, and just love it, and it keeps me going.
I have to encourage everyone to go to the YouTube at least for a second and to see your skin. You're
Oh,
69, and I am so inspired. I
thank
just literally started using Vitali peptides, the serum, on my scars because I was told I have a team out there helping me with the hip surgeries that I got. And
you.
one of the hacks was for our scars was to get some GHK-Cu. So I got a hold of this one, but I got it for my second hip surgery. The first one, I didn't have it by then. And then so now I've been using it on one hip. Well, now I use it on two, but I do have some photos I haven't published yet where I'm keeping. So I'll see what happened in those first 3 months with the first hip and what's happening with
That's
the
a
first
great
hip.
study.
Yeah.
That's a great study because it is worth using on an existing scar. I sent you the photo. That was my scar that I'd had since I was 9 years old, and using it twice, using the GHK-Cu twice a day, plus exfoliating, plus using the oil. I used the bakuchiol oil. I really saw it fade.
Yeah.
But then the scar I sent after the Mohs surgery, right across the forehead, that was Terry. He has been in the sun too much in his youth. And so he, being fair, has to have Mohs surgery every 3 or 4 months, it seems like. But we're thankful that the serum has really helped him because he uses it immediately after once the incision, they take the stitches out and he's using it. So
Yeah,
you'll probably notice a difference.
yeah, I'm coming up to the 3 month mark, so I'm gonna put the photos side by side. But I literally just got a box of all the other things that you're making that I'll have to go dive that into that later. But I want to jump in to understand. So you've got the GHK-Cu. I understand how you got into that, but you rattled off a couple of other names and other ingredients that are in skincare, and it seems like you're very obviously very passionate about it. And there are like thousands of other compounds up there and peptides, and you're still with the GHK-Cu, but what are the compounds are out there that impressed you that you think maybe you'll take a deeper dive into it? I know you incorporated some like the brown algae, but are there any other peptides? Let's dial down to peptides that are interesting for skin.
Okay, well, you had mentioned about comparing with matrixyl. We actually have matrixyl in our eye cream, which is the dipeptide 2 and tetrapeptide 7, palmitoyl tetrapeptide 7. And we chose those because we felt like it would really be for the eye area, the gentle eye area. It would help with the puffiness because it helps with blood flow and dark circles. So we have actually 4 peptides in our eye formula. And I've never used anything to keep that area smooth. And one of the things I love is that I get so many comments. It doesn't sting the eye area. It doesn't bother me because there's so many things out there that can harm you or cause problems. So we used 4 peptides, including the GHK-Cu and 3 other peptides in our products. We also use it in the serum. One of the peptides, tetrapeptide 1, is in the serum. So right now, that's where we are with the peptides.
Ah,
As far as just other really ingredients I'm very passionate about, and again, we may talk about later, is lactic acid. Lactic acid is a wonderful exfoliant. And one of the things I love the story, that's what Cleopatra used. So I always love that story. But it actually breaks the bonds of the dead cells and the damaged cells and brings up the debris. And it truly helps the copper peptides work better. So we have a cleanser, lactic acid cleanser, exfoliating cleanser, that's a once a day only because you can kind of feel it tingle to use to help your copper peptides work better. And I need to send you some of that. I just realized because you're working on your scar. So you
yeah.
need to have that.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. I'm so excited because when I heard you on Karen Martell's episode, Natalie Nitta's episode, I just listened to Karen and she's been using your products for, I think, a year and a half now or so. And
It's been using them a while.
yeah, her skin looks fabulous, but she was raving. I mean,
She was.
raving. So I'm like, okay, I'm really excited to take a deep dive into this. But peptides in general, I mean, I've been using some copper peptides on and off, but I never really quite stick to it. But I'm wondering then, let's talk about the benefits of just copper peptides in general.
Absolutely.
Because that's and what's happening to a woman's skin as we're going through menopause. We're losing our collagen and the elastin. And I know GHK-Cu can be or should be helping with this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I first of all, just let me preface this. I would have given anything to have this serum when I was in my 40s,
Mhm.
because you lose from like your 20s, you start losing collagen, and from 20 to menopause, you lose 1% a year. Okay. When you get to menopause, the 5 years of menopause, when your body's being possessed, you lose 30% of your collagen during that time, just in that 5 years, and then 2% of your collagen every year after. So it's pretty dramatic what happens. So if you can be prepared and start using something to help replace collagen, it actually helps. GHK-Cu not only restores collagen, it helps prevent the degradation. So it works both ways. So it's a wonderful, if you will, preventative for what's going on
It
during that time of year.
it helps. I understand it helps protect from the sun. I mean, not quite like
At
sunscreen,
UV.
but
It helps from the UV, the radiation. It is wonderful, and that's very damaging. It is not a sunscreen per se, but it is ideal to use underneath your sunscreen because it protects from the damage from the radiation from the sun.
Mhm.
In fact, Dr. Ferree shared that she actually injects it when she goes on airplane trips because, the extra
Mhm.
radiation. She
Yeah.
has studied it and believes in it so much. So I put it on my hands. That's one of the things I can't say enough. Do not forget your hands because they're out in the sun more all the time. They don't usually have on foundation or sometimes sunscreen, but put the GHK on your hands and then sunscreen.
That's a great idea. And when you say about the protecting against the radiation, I literally just posted a reel yesterday. And then I was talking to my biohacking bestie, Natalie Nidham,
Oh,
and she
yes.
said, oh, for that hack, I had a radiation hack at the end. And she said, brown algae. Like next time you got to
Yes.
talk about brown
Yes.
algae. It's like, oh,
I
great.
love it. She said that. I love it. Yes,
Yes,
Brown is
yes. So
wonderful.
absolutely right. So I think I completely it's fabulous. The ingredients that you have in here are absolutely incredible. And that there's no nasties in there and there's no
No.
fragrance, which I absolutely love. It's one of these safe products. And I'm wondering then also what you personally do to help boost your collagen. I mean, we know you're taking GHK-Cu, but your skin looks so good. I have to ask,
Oh,
there must
thank
be some
you.
other things too that you do.
Well, it's the diet. I drink a lot of water. I stay hydrated, drink water, exercise, which is good for skin. We talked about how important exercise is, but I'm very diligent. I use the serum twice a day. I use the eye cream twice a day. I'm very careful about the sun because I'm fair and I have the brown spots and all from all the youth when I didn't, you think everything's going to always be good. And so, really protecting against the sun, I think, is just huge. Being wear a hat, taking the time to, even when you just run out for a few minutes. Early morning sun, I think, is good. I get a little early morning sun just with the copper peptides. I'll put that on and just get a little early because it's so good for you. But then when you get 9, 10 o'clock, no sun.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you take any collagen peptides?
I
Like,
do. I take
yeah.
collagen peptides, and I'm trying to think of the other things. That is really important. Oh, and another thing, Suzanne Ferree, we were talking about this. I avoid seed oils. That's one of the things that people do not realize how the inflammation from that can affect your skin, your whole body and your skin. So be really mindful of those seed oils because they're bad.
Yeah,
They're
if
bad.
anybody's still buying those big plastic jugs of sunflower oils and canola
Exactly.
oils, stop it.
Exactly.
We have, I think the big problem in the US too is just that a lot of processed food has these seed oils as well. So sometimes it's not that the seed oil, I mean, I think if it's creeped in once in a blue moon, it's probably not a big deal. But the problem is we're consuming this a little bit too much. And then it becomes a problem. It's kind of like guilty by association thing. It's more, I think, the processed foods. If you cut that out, then you're cutting out the seed oils, right?
That's
It's
right. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So okay, we've got your skincare, your collagen hacks, which I really was excited to learn about. And then what about in terms of GHKCU? Can you explain like how it functions? How does it help with the elastin or how does it help boost collagen? Do you know
Well,
any?
it can tell you the fascinating story is how it was discovered, and that's what's so cool about the scar. It was discovered in wound healing, not about how to make skin beautiful. But in 1973, Dr. Picard was studying wound healing, and they actually they looked at the plasma of a younger person, and they transferred some of the serum from the younger person into the older liver and saw that it started behaving as a younger liver. And they realized in the study what they found the difference was the GHK-Cu in the younger. I mean, fascinating.
Hmm.
So it is one of the most studied peptides. That's one of the things I love about it. It's been studied since the 70s. It is a bioregulator. So it can also, one of the things that's so fascinating, it is one of the peptides that can go into the DNA and reset genes, and it will go up and down and reset them to a healthier state. So I think of GHK when comparing to other things I've seen out there. I mean, it's the basis for building beautiful skin. There's things that will work just to help some wrinkles, like with the muscle, the arginine with the muscle, et cetera, et cetera. This is a foundational peptide that will not only help build collagen, build elastin, help be as a powerful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It's one of the reasons it works so well on wounds and scars because it's such a powerful anti-inflammatory. It helps with blood flow. It just has so many uses, so many benefits. And I love that it's natural. It said it's a bioregulator, so it works at the DNA level. I can't say enough about
Yeah,
it.
I understood, and correct me if I'm wrong, that retinols also work on the DNA level. So this is why we
They do.
get quite a
They
good
do.
effect.
They're not as deep as the GHK-Cu. The GHK-Cu, and I've compared and I've studied, and retinol is one of those ingredients in the top 5 ingredients. So many people have trouble with retinol because either they have real sensitive skin, they can't use it for a variety of reasons, eczema, etc. That we actually have because so
Crucial,
many
yeah.
the Cucciol oil
Yeah.
that works like retinol. It works for cellular turnover. It helps with skin tone. It's different. It's a little more gentle. Not, I wouldn't say it's as powerful, but over time, you can see the results of the skin turnover and the tone. So that is one of the things I use daily. I use the bakuchiol on top of the serum to help.
Is it always better to put your GHKCU serum first and then any other creams or
That's
moisturizers?
a great question, and it depends on which other ingredient. With the retinol, I would use the serum first, then the retinol. Vitamin C is another one that is you can't layer together because, well, it's ascorbic acid. L-ascorbic acid is a very unstable molecule. So if you were to apply it first and then put your copper peptides, it would not hold up. So, what I recommend, and what my chemist has also agreed, is that you can put your vitamin C L-ascorbic acid first, wait 15 to 30 minutes. So, if you can do something, let it totally absorb. Then you can put your copper peptides on in the day, which is when you use your vitamin C. THD ascorbic, you can layer them together. It's an all soluble vitamin C.
Oh, so
Yeah, and
THC is a source, acid or
ascorbic,
ascorbic
yes,
acid is different than the L-ascorbic acid.
yes.
Ah, okay. So,
So
but
you can layer.
when somebody buys a bottle of vitamin C, they have to see which kind of
They
vitamin.
have to see. Yes, They
Okay,
do.
so if it's L-ascorbic, do not put it together at the same time with the GHK-Cu. But if
Exactly.
it's the other one, what is it called?
THD ascorbic. TH,
THC ascorbic, then it's okay.
it's okay. It's
Huh.
all and it's more stable.
Okay.
So that's something we're looking at in a future product because I like being able to use I like things that I can use layer them if possible.
Yeah.
Now the retinol people use at night. And so again, we say put your retinol on, wait 15 to 30 minutes if you want to use, and we recommend using the copper peptides, especially if you're working on an issue like a scar or hyperpigmentation. It's best to use it twice a day. And at night, the beautiful thing is that's when you repair. So if you want to use your retinol, put it on, let it totally absorb so you don't have them. They're both very powerful
Yeah.
ingredient actives. Then use your copper peptides after the retinoids. And then you can put your oil on top, etc.
Okay. All right. But with the bakuchi oil, you can layer them immediately.
Absolutely. You
Okay.
can use it because it's gentler. It just works differently. It accomplishes very similar things to the retinol, maybe not retin A. I know that's very powerful, but with the skin, the important thing is the cellular turnover. Because again, as we age through menopause, the cellular turnover slows down.
Mhm.
And so this helps not, it helps motivate that cellular turnover.
So when it comes to a scar, whether it's like me in my hip or somebody has something in their face, so what I've been doing is using the copper peptides. That's first, get that in real, make sure
Yes,
it
yes.
absorbs. And then I would use rose hip oil with some growth
Okay.
factors over it.
Wonderful.
And then
Wonderful.
on top of that, and I massage it for like 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then I add castor oil. That kind of is a new
Yes.
layer that I recently added. And I don't know if that,
Yes, I've been studying that. Absolutely. That's good. The only thing that and you may be doing, just be sure to exfoliate.
mm,
You want to do use some type of alpha hydroxy lactic acid, even leave on lactic acid. You don't put the other products with that. That's by itself. Put on your lactic acid because that again will help the debris in the scar tissue be released.
yeah, I
So
do it usually in the morning. And so I've sort of loofah'd my scars. I was kind of
perfect.
loofah it,
Perfect.
but I was only using the GHK-Cu once in the morning and I got to go use it twice a day, right?
Use it twice, especially when you're working on something like a scar. Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I got to, yeah, I have to remember to do lactic acid or exfoliate a little bit before that second round in the evening. And
Yes.
the other thing I've been using is red light. I have like a flex beam. This is a thing I can actually
Yes.
put directly onto the scar at a certain setting. And so I'm wondering then if I should combine the two somehow. I don't, because I usually do the red light at night when I haven't used the GHK-Cu. So how do you recommend using red light for with?
I would put it on before the red light. There are studies that show that it enhances the effect of the red light.
Oh,
So put it on,
okay.
especially when you're spot treating something.
Yeah.
So just the
Okay.
serum's so easy to use. It just absorbs.
It absorbs very quickly.
Absorbs very fast. It's like your skin is just drinking it up because it's
Yeah.
something it wants. So I would use the red light over it.
Excellent. Okay, this is a great hack. I'm going to like supercharge. So then I'm going to start with the two of them at the 3 month mark. I'm going to be using well, actually the other one I've been using with since the 3 months, after 3 months. But the now that I from now on I'll have to take some new photos of both of them with
I love
the
it.
red
I can't
light.
wait to see them.
Or maybe do one with red light, the other one not, with the red light
Yes.
and GHK-Cu and the other one not. And
You're a research project.
totally. Yeah. I'm logging this all in for everybody. So I think they can see my results. So, okay. So that's my stack. I've also, in terms of scarring, so I'd like to really help people with the scars. I know what it's like. And for me, it's just my hip, but I can't imagine if this is on your face. Is there anything else that you would recommend for scars in general? Because I do some laser and I mentioned massage. Trying to think if there's anything else that we should let everybody know that would be helpful, especially with your husband, that big scar on his face.
Do you believe that? And he doesn't have that. I mean, it's just totally
That's
faded. That picture,
gone.
I mean, we're our own research projects also, because when he came home with that, I just thought, okay, this is the real test for GHKCU because it's like a Frankenstein, right
It
across
was
his
huge.
huge with the big marks, and he was diligent he used the bakuchiol on top. Like, I think the oils, one of the great things about a good oil, like you're using a good oil, but a bakuchiol or the squalane, is it helps the peptides absorb also. So it's great to put an oil on top of something, but you
Okay,
were,
so
so
yeah,
that's great.
yeah, I was doing the rosehip oil, but I now have the bakuchiol oil, and there are a couple other ingredients. Well, now the other ingredients that will help absorb is the brown algae, or is that just pure just for the radiation?
It can help heal. It's a healer, so it can help also. But you bring up something I think that's important by protecting your scar. Now yours is probably hidden, but if you have scars that are showing, by protecting from future damage, that's part of the healing. So you can't forget to wear your
Sunscreen.
sunscreen, or ideally your copper peptides before you go out, and so that it will not receive additional damage.
That's a huge one. That is a
It
huge one.
is
Is protecting it from the sun is
it is
protecting
such a huge one.
stars. Yeah.
It's so easy to just walk out and take a walk. And I used to do that, but now I'm so like my hands, I finally really saw my brown spots. My hands look so much younger than they did 10 years ago that I think about my hands as much as my face almost, because it's easy to walk out and take the dog, and so many times Terry's heard me say, hold on, I've got to go get my sunscreen. So I actually have it in the garage now where
Yeah.
I can put some on my hands, because I know even a 20-minute walk, I'm getting that
You're getting the
damage.
sun. And when
It's
you
a
drive in the car and everything as well.
car is huge. You'll see you'll have more damage on the side of your window. If you look at your hands, you can see the difference. So I actually have, don't laugh at me, I have driving gloves.
Good for
One of my
you.
friends gave them to me because she said, you were so careful with your hands. And I put them on. They're in my little glove box. And I put them on and I feel better because your hands, it's all that, it's reflecting from the window.
Yes.
These are
Yes.
little hacks that really can make a
I'm
difference, because you can have the most beautiful face, but you reach your hand out and shake someone's hand and you show your age. You do.
It's okay. First of all, it's okay to own your age, right? It's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is
Let's
okay.
for
I'm
those
owning
women who
mine.
like don't care, but you and I care. So we want to like
Well, I want my age to be the best
yes.
age that
Yes.
I'm at to be the best. So
Be the best version that you are. But the
yes,
hands, it's more like for me, it would bother me, yeah, to have my hands one way and my face the other. Kind of like you have your tan on your body, but you got all the white protection cream on your face. Again, some people don't care. That's fine. I would like it to be all kind of even.
well, my dermatologist is the one that pointed this out to me, and it hurt my feelings at first because I was in there with my checkup on all the spots, and this was 5, 6 years ago before I was using the serum, the GHK-Cu, and he looked at my hand and he said, "Your hands do not belong to your face," and it really bothered me, but it made me very aware
Yeah.
that I needed to start taking care of my hands. I've spent so much focus on, I mean, I was really good about the sunscreen and all what I was using at the time, but I was ignoring my hands.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
well,
why
and not to mention skin cancer. I'm sorry. We're talking about beauty, but protecting our skin from the sun as well is important for the sun damage. And it's not like you can't get skin cancer in your hands, right? It's
absolutely.
happens everywhere. So I want to go back to the GHKCU. Are there any contraindications? Are there people who don't react well or shouldn't be taking this?
There very, very few. Someone who may have, I think it's Wilson's disease, where there's a problem with metabolizing copper, they should not use, and I've not had anyone have that, but that is, I've studied so that I would know that. I've had one person in almost 5 years say that they had high copper from blood work, and Dr. Ferree, I talked with her about it, and we haven't gone to this next step. She wanted to know, did she apply the copper peptides before the blood, like where when they extracted the blood, the copper serum, and they didn't answer me on that, which makes me think that's a possibility. So that would be the only thing. And Dr. Ferree said that you actually can, if you have too much copper or some kind of toxicity, it will show up in your nail bed. You will actually see blue in the lunae of your nails. So that
That's
was
if
one
you're
thing.
injecting it or if you're just putting it on as a
Either
serum.
either way, anyway, she said she's never seen that with topical. I'm
Okay.
not sure she's seen it injecting it either. But that is the one thing to look for if you're concerned about having too much copper.
Okay. All right. That's a good indicator. And you just stop and it goes right
Right.
away, right?
But it's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Are
Copper is
you,
so important
yeah. So what's the
for everything.
difference in efficacy between something, the a GHK-Cu that you inject versus a topical?
Well, a topical does not go as deep into the cells as injecting. So you're going to, like, for pain management or some of the other things, you would want to inject. Although, doctor, I did ask her that question about, have you had any reports of any positive benefits outside of skin from any of your patients? And she said she actually had someone say that they were using it on their arm and they did feel some difference. Now, again, I can't say, but it's just not as powerful for those they like pain management, which
Mhm.
is what one of the things people inject it for, and for skin. It
Yeah, yeah.
goes
I'm
deeper.
wondering if for the skin,
Deeper.
if you
It
really
goes
wanted to
deeper.
double duty, would it, or if you had to choose one, I don't know, injectable versus a serum, have you tried, or do you know
Yes.
any of the research that shows a difference?
Well, I know Nat does both. She
Mm.
uses the serum and injects because she talked about how she has, I don't know if she's still doing it, had a protocol where she injects just this micro little dose several times a day of the GHK-Cu.
Oh, I've got to go talk to her about that.
Yeah, she knows so
Nope.
many. She's the one that shared that with me. And that's supposed to be one of the more effective ways to use it. It's just these little micro. And I think, you mean you have to inject several times? I'm thinking I like
No.
one big dose. I
I
think
hate
it can
injecting
help.
myself, but it does work. I mean, when I had my hip operations, I was doing BPC 157 and TB
Yes.
500 and
Yes.
it really helped with wound healing. I saw accelerated recovery and I had two chances to try it and I tried different things, but I do it if I have to. But sometimes I'm just wondering what the effect would be, how much more of a boost in your skin or collagen would you see? And I guess you would see it systemically because you're injecting it in your belly,
Yes.
right? You're not injecting it in
Yes.
your face.
Yes.
And then you versus a topical. I don't
I,
know.
I think it can just enhance. I do not have the exact research other than when Nat says something, I listen. And when she tells me she injects herself several times a day, these microdoses, I think, okay, she knows something. I'm going to try
Yeah.
that.
Well, it's supposed to be really good. I'm just wondering, like, is it gonna be, is it worth it? So I'm gonna be just testing it out, all this stuff out, all the topically, and then
Yes,
and I'll have to
absolutely.
do a second experiment and then see what happens for me. But it's quite fun. This is all quite harmless, is all very, very good for you in terms of topicals. So I'm trying to think about this. So I want to make clear for everybody the vitamin C thing, make sure you don't mix it and the as well as the retinols. Is there any other ingredient that we should be very mindful about not mixing with the copper peptides?
Well, not layer. So the alpha hydroxy acids, which as I said, I love them. But if you're going to put a leave on, you don't put anything else with it. You do not put the copper peptide over that.
Okay.
We are working on a leave on 10% lactic acid. I'm really excited. I've been testing it and it really does. I can, in the morning, my skin, I use it without the copper peptide. That's all I use. And I can feel the softness and I can just tell it's helping the copper peptides. It's supporting the copper peptides. But you would not layer that. You would not put an alpha hydroxy and put copper peptides on top
Okay.
of it.
So it sounds like
Or
anything, yeah, quite acidic or burning
it's
or
too much.
cellular turnover. It's kind
That
of,
is correct. And the pH, you have to worry about the pH. Yes.
so you mentioned to look at your nails to see if you've overdosed on the GHK-Cu. And I don't know if, yeah, if people, we've even mentioned it, but it's blue. Copper
It's
peptides, you
blue.
know that they're real copper peptides when they're blue. And if you
Oh,
can
yeah. Show that
is
beautiful.
going into the YouTube,
Yeah.
you'll see it's a really, really bright blue color. And I've bought them before and I have not, I mean, I haven't bought Vitali, but I tried others and they're not as blue. I don't know. What is the difference between Vitali copper peptides and let's say something else you get in the pharmacy?
It's a great question. And especially that you get in Sephora or other places because they do have copper peptides. It is the purity and the concentration. And there's so many products that I see that they're really cheap. And I'm going, I can't even buy the copper peptide for what they're selling this
Must be so little.
before I even formulate it because it's so cheap. And then I look at it and it's this barely, sometimes it's not even blue at all. It doesn't even have a blue tint, but you can tell by the color. And if you want a high concentration copper peptide, it needs to be the bright blue, like what you just shared. Bright blue. Our copper peptide is greater than 99% pure, which again, if it's not a pure, it's not going to have that beautiful blue color. And I would say if they don't share that, if they say, oh, it's proprietary, and I've had that, I've tried to research, other copper peptides just to see what they're doing. And I will write one of the questions and I'll say, what percentage of copper peptides? I'm just curious. And they're like, oh, that's proprietary information. And I think if you're not
It's
going
so
to,
low.
yeah. And so if you're not going to share it, then it makes me question it. Well, I'm proud. I have 3% in my med grade version and 2% in my other serum. And that's double what you would see in the average. I asked my supplier of GHK, and she said the average is 0.5% to 1% that you'll find out there. I mean,
Oh,
you're not going to find, so you want enough. So it does cost more because the peptide is expensive. But if you're going to take the time to have a routine and use something twice a day, you want it to work.
that's why it's working. I
That's
guess.
why it's
Yeah.
working. And they need to tell you. And if they don't post it, they need you. If you ask the question, I try to answer every question anyone asks me about my product.
I do that with supplements too. I'll call companies or send them emails and ask them questions. And if they say it's proprietary information or they cannot answer or they don't answer, I just move on. It's a big red flag for me. So I can see what you're talking about for the other peptides. But so there's differences in percentages. So there's companies out there using 0.5%, 1%, which is barely anything. Is there a difference in terms of the quality or grade or
Oh,
one
yes.
lab that makes these copper peptides
Yes.
and your lab that makes something else?
Absolutely. It's the purity. You need to find out the purity. And that's why I'm really proud to say ours is greater than 99% purity. And we changed from the beginning. We researched and we started, and we did not have as great I would say, as effective copper peptide until we moved to the source that we've been using now for 4 years. And it is, and they can explain, I mean, they have all the papers and the documentation on why their copper peptide is the best, or I believe it is the best.
What are the three biggest, I guess, the three biggest things that women see on their face when they start using copper peptides?
A good question. And one thing I want to say, I don't want to set expectations. It's not in 1 week you're going to have this, magic thing happen, but you will start, to me, what I felt and what I've heard others when I check in on people is they feel a softness. There's something softer in the feel of their skin. And that's usually one of the first things. And then they'll start feeling more hydrated. I've had people say, oh, I feel more hydrated. My skin is after the first couple of weeks. Sometimes trying a new product, it can dry at first when your skin is adjusting, but there'll be a hydration. And then it will be after that that you'll start seeing more dramatic, like lines smoothing out, hyperpigmentation. They'll start seeing these subtle changes. And then it really is closer to 3 months where I certainly my experience and many have said, wow, I
Mm,
really see the difference in my skin.
yeah.
So again, want to set expectations because you are really building a healthier skin. That's what I love about this. This is about healthier skin, and healthier skin is more beautiful.
Absolutely. We want our skin to be in the best condition, not cracked, not open to bacteria and then having other problems. And then of course being exposed to the sun is a big one. But so this is a 3 month commitment. And it sounds like I see the same thing with supplements when people are trying supplements. I say you gotta give it time. Skincare and supplements, it's really rare to see something a wow factor right away, other than like, oh, okay, I do feel that it's hydrated. I mean, you can see immediately, is it sticky? Is it horrible? Am I breaking out? Like there's things that you can see right away. But I think when we're looking at real change, I always say 3 months. So I encourage people, if you want to try some GHK-Cu, just give it a good go.
Give it a That's right. Thank you for saying that. I really believe that. And I think you won't be disappointed if you give it that shot.
You mentioned something around the corner that's coming up. You said the lactic acid. I think that's what you
That's
said.
one.
Is
Yes.
that's one, and that's going to be in a cleanser?
No, that is a leave on. Actually, I already love it. It's going to be a cream and it tingles. It's only a twice a week commitment, and you put it on at night and you leave it on and then wash it off before you use any other ingredients. And it really does. It breaks the bonds of the the dead skin cells, and it brings up the debris, and it really does work because you can feel the next day. Now, that is something I'll say the next day I felt something happening because it is a strong active and we need to exfoliate. So that we hope to have that by June. That's coming. And then the biggie, and you'd asked me in some questions about, what's the next big thing? And we are working right now with exosomes. And I believe zero exosomes to, again, we're dreaming. What does this need to be? It needs to be with GHK-Cu. And then we're down to what other just perfect, wonderful ingredients can make this product so fabulous. And I've been testing it, and it's like the most excited I've been since GHK-Cu.
Oh,
So that will be fall. That takes a little longer, but we will have that in fall.
exosomes. Oh my goodness. That sounds to me, that's one thing, the only thing I didn't try for my hips to repair them were
Oh,
exosomes.
okay.
I just
Well,
ran out of time and I ran out of money. So I'm building back now. And that will be really exciting to try. I always relate exosomes to, well, I guess no, to skin as well. Yeah, people are injecting them.
for
That's,
pain
yeah.
or for skin, but for
Also skin.
pain.
Yeah. And so you're looking at a topical or are you thinking
Yes.
of injectable?
Topical.
Okay.
Topical.
So much easier.
Yeah, topical. Well, there's so many people that do not want to inject.
Yeah.
That they're just like, I'm not even going there. I've interviewed a lot of people, and no, what can I put on my face? And they
So,
really absorb. One of the things the chemists, I have a wonderful chemist who helps me understand. I was a marketing person, not a biochemist, which that's no big surprise after listening to me. But he was explaining it's like little envelopes carrying messages into your cells. And so it can help, get the copper peptide deeper into the cells. I mean, we're looking at how it can just enhance what we're already doing. So we're so excited.
oh, cool. So we're going to have like a little rapid fire. What are the three most important things that a woman can do right now to improve her skin?
I have to say, and it's not a surprise, but protect from the skin. You just be more aware of protecting from the skin. Hands also,
Sun.
even
You mean?
sun. So sun. I talked to Dr. Ferree about this recently. She says hydration. She says hydration is so important that we forget about that. So I think that's for now. I would say a very good invest in a good skincare product that helps replace what nature has taken away. I mean, something naturally occurring like GHK-Cu, invest in it and be dedicated to using it. That's
Great
my
tips.
three.
And then what are the three things that we're doing right now that we're destroying our skin?
Well, one of the things, the seed oil. I think the seed oil definitely it's the inflammation and also sugar. I did a lot of study. One of the things that I do love also, I can talk about GHK forever, but we're not going to do that. But glycation, it can help prevent glycation, and that's the crosshatch skin. And sugar is one of the biggest contributors to that. So I know it's not a popular thing to say, but be really careful of the sugar because it not only affects your waist and other things, it affects your skin. And that if you look at a picture of someone who has the glycated skin, the cross hatches, is so obvious. So I would say sugar. That would be two things that they're not aware of. Oh, let me think. I guess getting enough minerals. I think it's important that you're aware of the minerals, and there's a lot of opportunities out there now and supplements to get the minerals that you're missing. let me change it, sleep. Let's just go to sleep. Sleep, maybe people are aware there's so much noise about sleep, but are you really practicing? And when I went to Nat's retreat, that's when I learned, and I became serious in a different way because she called it sleep hygiene. And at the retreat, we started sleep hygiene like at 4 o'clock. And I'm going, okay, I'm thinking 7, 8, but 4. And that included not eating a heavy meal before dinner, your light meal, not eating anything 2 hours before, no alcohol, just being, oh, the blue light. I think blue light is another. I mean, Nat, I give her credit, I have blue blockers. And after dinner, the blue blockers go on and I use them also on the computer. So I think being aware of the things that can stress your body and sleep, not having sleep stresses the body as
Yeah.
bad as anything or doesn't allow the healing. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah. Those are three good things to avoid. Avoid the sugar, avoid the seed oils, and avoid robbing yourself from sleep.
Wait.
I would add one more is smoking. That's
Oh, yes.
destroy your skin. Like I'm sure in our circles we're like, who smokes anymore? But I'm in Europe and people
Oh,
are
yes.
smoking a lot.
Yes. You're probably getting some of that secondhand smoke as you go through town.
Yes. Gotta just put on more GHK-Cu as I walk
Absolutely.
by. So those are great tips. I think they're fantastic. I want to ask you, what is your skincare routine look like?
Sure.
Like from the
Absolutely.
morning routine and the evening routine?
That is a good question because one of the things that people do that I think, especially as we age, we get thinner, dry skin and more dry skin. And you see the thinning is we overwash or even exfoliate. While I believe you need to exfoliate your skin, people overdo it. They think, oh, a little bit is good. So I do not wash with any product. I use micellar water. The Bioderma is my favorite. It's not my product. And someone said, why are you recommending someone else's product? And I said, because I think it's best for the morning. I don't want to use any harsh product on my face in the morning. I just use the micellar water and clean it off. That's all I need. I don't have makeup on at night. I'm very good about not wearing makeup at night. So I use that. Then I use the serum, then eye cream moisturizer. And then before I put on, I use a tinted sunscreen. I use the oil. I either use the bakuchiol or the squalene, and I put a few drops in my hand and mix it in and put it on with that product because it adds an extra protection for my skin. Both products of mine have squalene in them. So it gives this extra protection for your face. And plus, it makes the products just go on so much better. And then at night, I exfoliate with a gentle exfoliating cleanser. And then now I'm applying the exosomes that we're testing with the GHK-Cu and then the moisturizer and the eye cream. And so it's simple. I don't have a lot of products. I can't do it.
Yeah, no,
And so
it's
many people have said that. They said one of the things they love is you don't have 40 things I have to sift through and figure out. We just have 8 products.
and you don't ever blend in sometimes a vitamin C or a retinoid or do a face mask or red light or
I
laser.
do red light. I do red light. And I go for microneedling with and put the GHK-Cu immediately following, or sometimes I have them use it with it. So I do like microneedling because it gets my product in deeper. So I do that, but I don't use a lot of other products. Just
I go into phases, but now I just got into it again, is the dermastamping. So at
yes,
home, I'll dermastamp. I'm assuming it's probably a good time to use the
yes.
GHC, no?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Dr. Ferree uses it, recommends it. She uses it also for her patients for hair growth. So they use the GHK-Cu, both men and women, and they use the Dermastamp to help it go deeper into the skin. And Terry, my husband, uses the Dermastamp for hair growth
Mm.
and scars as he has Mohs surgery.
Yes. It's such a great. Okay, I am going to be keeping everybody posted. And in the show notes, I will have links to where to get Vitali and as well as links. I think we talked so much about Natalie Nidham and Karen Martell. I'm going to have links to those to those girls too. Like, who are these people talking about these biohacks? Is there anything else that you would like to share that before we let you go?
I think I've shared
We
shared a
covered
lot. We
GHKCU pretty
we
well.
did cover GHK-Cu. I think just be consistent. The consistency does make a difference. So don't expect if you try something using it once a week or twice a week that you're going to have. Be consistent and give whatever you're doing a chance. I've been bad about that in the future. I mean, in the past, excuse me, not in the future, probably will be in the future. But I haven't and said, this isn't working. And then I have to go, wait, I got to give it a chance. So I'd say be consistent and give it a chance.
Oh, fantastic. One last question. I'm curious. Are you taking HRT at all?
No.
No. Oh gosh, you have no estrogen effects on your face and you look that fabulous. Like that
Well,
cannot be.
I'm sorry. I am using estradiol. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Estradiol.
I'm
Okay.
using estradiol, but not injecting anything like
Oh,
that. But
yeah, yeah.
I am using estradiol and progesterone through Dr. Ferree.
Ah, oh, good. Awesome. And are you using it on your face at all?
Well, I have not, but Karen Martell has set me up, and I'm
Yes.
getting ready to start that because she has a wonderful product that she introduced me to a couple of weeks ago. So I'm ready to try that too.
Oh, you're gonna love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so many things we can do, but it'll be interesting to hear, yeah, your experience, how you do that. Your skin is already fabulous. You're doing all the right things. We'll have a promo code ZORA, that's Zora. It's for 20% off in the show notes. And people can follow you on vitaliskincare.com. They can find you on Instagram, also Vitali Skincare, and watch this space with me. I'm going to share the transformation of my scars and my
Can't
face
wait.
and all that. So thank
Love
you
it.
so much,
Thank
Debbi,
you,
for your
Zora. It's been fun. I really appreciate it.